welcome aboard one of the most famous ferries in the world. Please pay attention to the emergency procedure notices displayed around the vessel. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you will hear 7 short blasts followed by 1 prolonged blast on the whistle. If you hear this signal, please make your way to the life jacket assembly points following the assembly station direction signs displayed. The crew will be on hand to give instructions and advice. Please note that smoking, including the use of e-cigarettes, is not permitted on any part of the vessel, and for your own safety, we also ask you not to stand on the seats or sit on the ship's rails. We ask cyclists to alight after all foot passengers have left the vessel. Please be aware that at low tide, the link span passenger bridges will be at a steep angle. This time of day is called low water. You may have difficulty if you have reduced mobility, so please ask for help if required, and take care. Photography and filming may take place during this cruise and may be used for the purpose of promoting Mersey ferries online, in print and on social media.
During the cruise, you will see some of Liverpool and Wirral's most famous landmarks, including the Three Graces, Wallasey Town Hall, the Mersey Tunnel's ventilation shafts, Camel Laird Shipyard, the Royal Albert Dock, and Liverpool's 2 magnificent cathedrals. We shall be calling at Seacombe Ferry Terminal on the Wirral side of the river. Seacombe is the gateway to New Brighton and offers the opportunity to walk along the coastal promenade to New Brighton, which is about 2.5 miles. Seacombe is also home to Eureka Science and Discovery, a new visitor attraction designed for children and young people up to 14 years. There's been a ferry across the Mersey for more than 800 years, providing a link between Liverpool and the Wirral shorelines. Pier Head, our starting point, takes its name from the long stone pier which once jutted out into the river from the shore next to the Sailors' Church, the Church of Our Lady and St Nicholas. You can see the church at the back and to the left of the Liver building, with a golden square rigger ship on its lantern-top tower.
The modern 350-metre terminal on your right is Liverpool's cruise liner berth. Cruise lines, including Cunard, Norwegian Cruise Line, Costa Cruises, Celebrity, Disney, Princess and Viking Cruises, sail into the city year-round.
In all, 7 miles of docks and 23 miles of quays stretch along the Liverpool foreshore. In 1710, the Corporation of Liverpool started work on the world's first commercial wet dock, and by the end of the century, the city boasted a full dock system. Steam had revolutionised shipping, and this, combined with the Industrial Revolution and the opening up of the Americas, secured Liverpool's future as a trading city and a major port.
Liverpool's unique character has been influenced by a diverse mix of races: Welsh, Irish, West Indians, Africans and Chinese. And this has produced a population characterised by its vitality, resilience and extreme sense of humour. The city is also home to the oldest black and Chinese communities in Britain. Liverpool had prospered from trade with the British West Indies and the American colonies during the 18th century. A latecomer to the transatlantic slave trade of cheap goods to Africa, slaves to the sugar plantations, and sugar, rum and tobacco home to England, Liverpool nevertheless came to dominate the slave trade until its abolition in 1807. Some slaves were sold in Liverpool, mainly for domestic service, and you can find out much more about Liverpool's role in transatlantic slavery at the International Slavery Museum at the Royal Albert Dock. The growth of the United States of America provided Liverpool with growing volumes of trade, and new docks were opened on the Mersey in quick succession during the 1800s. The city was described as the gateway to the British Empire and the door to the New World. A significant Irish presence has existed in the city for several centuries. In 1841, an estimated 49,000 Irish people lived in the city. And in the following years, during the Great Famine, over 1.5 million people crossed the Irish Sea, many of whom then left for the Americas, but many stayed, and their presence changed the character of the city forever. Up until the 19th century, Liverpudlians spoke in the same way as their Lancashire neighbours, but the impact of Irish migration to the city gave the city its unique accent. Today, an estimated 75% of Liverpool's population can trace their heritage to Ireland. You can find more information on this at the Museum of Liverpool. Between 1830 and 1930, over 9 million people left Liverpool by boat in search of a better life. Before steamships were introduced, these journeys were extremely hazardous. To sail to America would take 35 days, and the trip to Australia lasted from 10 to 17 weeks, depending on wind and weather. The ships were crowded, and conditions encouraged the spread of diseases such as cholera. By the late 1800s, over 200 ships a week would leave Liverpool and travel to all corners of the world. Liverpool then was the most important port outside London.
On the dock wall, you can see the Victorian hexagonal Salisbury Dock Clock Tower, designed by Jesse Hartley, who was responsible for much of Liverpool's dockland architecture, including the Royal Albert Dock. The clock's chief use was to check the ship's chronometer as the vessel left port, and was affectionately known as the Docker's Clock. It has 6 faces that can be seen from all points of the compass. The only other one of its kind is in Russia. This is also the original site of the entrance to the Leeds-Liverpool Canal from the river. Although now the pierhead extension is finished, the canal extends through to the Royal Albert Dock. We now see the massive red brick building, which is the Stanley Tobacco Warehouse. When built in 1900, it was the world's biggest bonded warehouse, large enough to fit St George's Hall inside. It was built using 27 million bricks, specifically for storing tobacco cargoes until duty was paid, and it is still the largest brick-built building in the world. The next dock downriver is the Nelson Dock, and then we have the Bramley Moor Dock, which in the future will be the new home of Everton Football Club. The new stadium, at an estimated cost of £500 million, is due to open for the start of the 2025-26 Premier League season, replacing Goodison Park, the club's home since 1892. Bramley Moor Dock, opened in 1848, was also designed by Jesse Hartley and primarily used as a coal dock. The dock was in use for 140 years, but as coal-fired steamships fell out of use and the coal mines in South Lancashire closed, demand for coal disappeared, and Bramley Moor Dock was eventually closed in 1988.
The large wind turbines that you can see provide the power to the Royal Seaforth Dock, which is the prime container terminal for North America. Approximately 70% of the northwest freight runs through Liverpool. Completed in 2016 and adjacent to the dock is Liverpool 2, a new deep-water container terminal capable of handling 2 post-Panamax vessels simultaneously and able to handle 95% of all vessels that sail the seas. This doubles the container handling capacity of Liverpool. The large group of trees along the Wirral foreshore opposite is Vale Park, and it was near here where the famous gunpowder magazine stood. This is where the ships used to stop to offload or pick up gunpowder on their way into or from port. Storing explosives in the docks themselves was seen as far too big a risk. Over the years, the Mersey ferries have not only provided transport for visitors and the people of Merseyside, they have also played their part during both World Wars. In the First World War, 2 of the Wallasey ferries, the Iris and the Daffodil, were commandeered by the government and used as landing craft for the Royal Marines in a daring raid to neutralise the port of Zeebrugge on the 23rd of April 1918. Both of the ferries were badly damaged by artillery and machine gun fire, but managed to escape and limp back to Dover. Because of their work, King George V allowed the vessels to use the word royal in their name, and after extensive refitting, they resumed their peacetime activities as the Royal Daffodil and the Royal Iris. You can visit the award-winning attraction, The Beatles Story, which is based at the Royal Albert Dock. The attraction takes visitors on an immersive journey through the lives, times, culture and music of the Beatles, and contains an impressive collection of fascinating memorabilia. For more information or to buy tickets in advance, please visit